Welcome back to the Open Wheel Offline League Season 5, Round 5, as we return to Brazil and Interlagos for the first time since Season 2. As let's go through your starting grid for today's race. Starting in the back in row 14 for the second time in a row, it's going to be Stingray Rob, having some difficulty in qualifying so far this season. So work to be done on that 77 team. As we move forward up to row 13, we have Mahavir Raghunathan qualifying a little further back than he's used to, and then Nico Hulkenberg. Row 12, you've got Alessio Deletta on the outside. Look for him to move forward. A little bit of a disappointing qualifying effort for him. Then Glover Lore on the inside. Row 11, Miles Rowe with a new sponsor on the outside. Then teammate Tinkle McStinkle on the inside, looking to get his season really started, as he sits 27th and last in points. Road 10 is the rookie Francesco Draconi. Didn't have a great time at the bend trying to get back on track here today, but he's starting deep in the field, and he'll have Dawa Tenzin on his inside for Team Canada Dry. Then you move up to row 9, you've got Lawless Allen, another rookie. Then to his inside, been very quiet so far this season, Devlin DiFrancesco in the 75. Up to row 8 is the 76 of Ethan Martz, two back-to-back top 10s is pretty good, but Lindsey Brewer's coming off a podium at the bend, but going to be starting down in 15th as she sits 6th in points. Good start to the season for her. Row 7 on the outside, Robbie Lore, been very consistent this season, been really around the 10th to 15th range this whole season. Then Ryan Priest finally got his first top 10 of the season at the bend. Going to be starting from 13th today as he looks to make up some points. Row 6 on the outside, David Malukas. He's been doing better in qualifying, but the races just haven't gone his way. Spun out from the lead at the bend and finished down in 26th. So he sits 26 in points, and then Benjamin Peterson coming off a top 5 at the bend and also had a 6 at Motegi. So look for him to do well today as he's been doing well on the road courses. Brendan Hubbard has his best qualifying effort of the season, starting in 10th, and to the inside of him will be his teammate Guy Gagne, who's done well in qualifying but has struggled in the races. Up to row 4, Dorian Pinn, your points leader, going to be on the outside, coming off an 8th at the bend, and then Connor Zilic also just looking to get his season really underway here. Not really any good results outside the Motegi Oval. Looking for a good result here today, starting from 7th. Then in row 3, it's the two Swindlers cars. Louis Foster, third in points, going to be on the outside, and then his rookie teammate, Justin Allgaier, going to be on the inside, looking to make up some points that he lost at the bend. And then row 2 on the outside, going to be Chet Jordan, been very consistent so far this season. And then to his inside is going to be the number 19 of Nolan Siegel. And then on the front row, once again, it's going to be Marcus Armstrong on the outside, second in points, down by 5. And then Shane Van Gisbergen going to get his third pole of the season, extending his record as he starts in first. So we are racing in Interlagos, a 2.67 mile circuit for 35 laps, just under 100 miles. The track has a lot of twisting, winding elevation sections, but also a lot of fast sections. The draft going to be monumental here, especially through turns 12 to 1. Then there's your driver standings picture. Dorian Pinn only up by 5 over Marcus Armstrong. Shane Van Gisbergen starting on pole is down in 5th, down by 17. And the Swindlers of the Immortals pulling out to a decent lead in the team standings. Currently pacing here at Interlagos. For whatever reason, the thing is not scrolling across. Ain't that a shame? There we go. Let's take a look at the tire compounds that they'll be starting on for today's race. Van Gisbergen will be on the mediums, Armstrong on the mediums, so they're both going to be on mediums at the start, so even for them. Nolan Siegel, first car on the softs, and then Chet Jordan going to be the first one on the hards. Allgaier will go medium, Foster will go medium, Zilich soft, Dorian Pin medium, Gagne soft, Hubbard going to go hard, Peterson medium, and Malukas medium. So medium seems to be the general consensus. A few guys on the softs. Viking Racing, 3 out of 4 cars going on the softs. Brendan Hubbard going to be the only one not on the softs, and he's actually going to go on the hards. Let's take a look at your weather really quick coming into this race. Race takes place April 26th at 2 p.m., 4 mph wind speed, temperature of just 73, track temp of 84, and it's a little cloudy, but not too bad. As you can see, the sun is peeking through. It's going to be an exciting race. The draft going to be huge as the championship is really just starting to get underway. We're starting to see our contenders peek through. As we're going to go through the final few turns here. But no matter how fast you are, things can always turn on their head when it comes to strategy and yellow flags. You gotta look to stay on top of it. So this is the long straightaway that you're gonna see a lot of the slipstreams being used. Let's get ready to go. The Open Wheel Offline League returns to Brazil for the first time since Season 2, and Shane Van Gisbergen will be on pole. And green flag is out here at Interlagos. Good start for Van Gisbergen, but also a good start for Siegel, who's going to get a good jump into turn 1 and is going to get around Marcus Armstrong. He is on the soft tires, so that's going to help him. As here comes Chet Jordan, he's getting passed by Justin Allgaier, so Silly Men Racing, not the greatest of starts, but Chet Jordan now sneaking ahead as Nolan Siegel tries taking a look at Van Gisbergen, but not going to be able to get there, as Foster going to go around his teammate on the outside. And that's for position. That's for 5th, and here comes Zilich on the soft tire. He's going to get Allgaier as well. Siegel following Shane Van Gisbergen. Best result of 3rd on the season at the Motegi Road Course back in round 2. Got a 4th on the Motegi Oval. The Bend and Michigan did not go his way. Looking for a good points day here. He is in that slipstream as he's going to pop to the outside. Does he have enough of a run to take the lead into turn 1? He's going to be around the outside. He's going to have the apex here, and he's going to get the position. Nolan Siegel to the lead. 1 win in his career came at Watkins Glen back in Season 2 when he raced for Banshees of Little Miami. As right now he leads the race. Marcus Armstrong follows. Foster leads Zilich, leads Allgaier, Pin, Gagne, and Hubbard. But Siegel up 2 spots since the start. One of your bigger movers. So we're going to have to see what those soft tires do as they degrade. But he's going to try to pull out to as big of a lead as he can. But he's got to try to make it to about, I'd say about lap 18 to be safe. But that's going to be a big ask on these soft tires. If he goes soft mediums, he should be okay. Soft tires, for some reason on these cars, bug out. As back here, we've got a battle. That is Chet Jordan going around Justin Allgaier. Or sorry, Allgaier trying to pass Foster. Or did Allgaier get Zilich? That was a big cluster that went in there. The camera angle was a little wonky. As Gagne chases down pin. Ryan Priest trying to go around David Malukas for 12th. Side by side. And Priest is going to get that position. This is a little cluster right here. But Nolan Siegel still leads Shane Van Gisbergen and Marcus Armstrong. Six tenths of a second is the lead. Chet Jordan leading the second group that goes back to 9th. Brendan Hubbard on the hards is a little further back. But all 4 Viking racing cars qualified inside the top 10. After a disappointing run at the Bend, they want some good points here today. Van Gisbergen gonna have a little bit of a run on Nolan Siegel, but not quite able to get there, as that's a little bit of tire smoke from Siegel. So perhaps pushing the tires just a little bit now. Chet Jordan's on the hard, so he's struggling a little bit more for now. But once we get into a groove, he should start emerging quicker than the other cars around him. He's got a hungry pack right behind him. 3 Swindlers cars in this group. Foster in 5th. He's going to poke to the outside. He's going to try and get a run up the outside here. But he's going to have to back out as Chet Jordan is bold on his defense, as Connor Zilich trying to get his position back from Justin Allgaier. Not quite able to get there as Armstrong tries taking a look at Van Gisbergen up the road, but wasn't close enough. Van Gisbergen and Armstrong have qualified on the front row 1-2. The last 2 races, finished the Bend 1-2. These two have been pretty close in the early parts of this season. We do know with Silly Men Racing they are going to have a 3rd car for the Indy 300 with Yuki Tsunoda. The other team that we know with an extended car would be Viking Racing with a 5th car for Romain Grosjean in his Open Wheel Offline League debut. Armstrong not quite close enough for Van Gisbergen. Siegel still leading solidly. No one's quite on Jordan, but Allgaier's trying to go around his teammate, but Foster's going to close the door. Back here, Hubbard's trying to... Whoa! What was that? Big, bold move with Benjamin Peterson. I believe Peterson may have gotten into the wall. That was very aggressive racing. As Zilich trying to go up the inside of Justin Allgaier here. Side by side. Zilich still going to hang on. Soft tires versus mediums. Zilich still has just enough grip to be able to get the move done and move up into 6th place. Foster still trying to chase down Chet Jordan. Marcus Armstrong has lost Shane Van Gisbergen a little bit. Down by a second now. Van Gisbergen still about 6/10 back on Nolan Siegel. Well, he's just kind of waiting. We're going to have to see what Siegel does with these tires. As here comes Foster trying to go around the outside once again, but can't quite get there. Zilich looked like he was going to take a look, but didn't. Let's go on board. wasn't quite willing to go there. Ryan Priest slowly catching up to this group. He's on the medium tires. As Van Gisbergen is all over the back of Nolan Siegel now. Van Gisbergen looking for us back-to-back wins. The last time we've had a back-to-back winner in the Open Wheel Offline League, you'd think it happened more commonly, but the last time it happened was Tom Blomqvist back in Season 2, before we even ran at Interlagos last, when he won both Japanese races at Fuji and then the Motegi Oval. As Van Gisbergen gonna be looking for a move here. Is he gonna go for it? He's gonna look around the outside, but not quite willing to take that risk. As Zilich gonna pop, that was aggressive. But is it gonna work? Foster's gonna have the defensive line, but Zilich is gonna get it done. He's up into 5th, and he is on the soft tires, so he's really making him work right now. As Gagne under attack from Ryan Priest, who is moving forward. Started 13th up to 10th, up 3 spots. Zilich is up 2. Brendan Hubbard has fallen down to 12th. He's lost a few spots. Robbie Lohr, I think, is your biggest mover. He's down to 18th. He's dropped about 4 spots. He's on the hards. That might explain a little bit why. This Malukas is also kind of moving backwards, as he just got passed by Lindsey Brewer. But Chet Jordan really making the hards work. Well, he's not really gaining much time, but he's planted there. As Van Gisbergen on the back of Nolan Siegel once again. He's going to look to the inside here, and he's going to get it done without much attack from Nolan Siegel. As back here, Connor Zilich going to go around the outside of Chet Jordan, not able to get it. Nearly loses out to Foster, as Foster's going to have to defend off Justin Allgaier, as Van Gisbergen going to get away from Nolan Siegel. Zilich going to go up the inside here. Ooh, it's close. But Zilich is going to move through up to 4th now. Really doing well on these soft tires. Quite surprised. Nobody has come in for a pit stop yet. Everyone is content on hanging out where they are. Or with what they have, I should say. Siegel, half a second back on Van Gisbergen. He might be losing just a little bit. He is in the draft here, as he's actually going to be the first one to come in. So Nolan Siegel will come in a little early. We're going to have to see what kind of tire he takes. As Allgaier up the inside of his teammate, and he's going to get the position. Justin Allgaier, the rookie, up into 5th. Nolan Siegel going to be going to, I believe that is the hards, or yeah, that's the hards. He's going to be on the hards to finish out the race, as Lawless Allen is backwards. First spinner of the day. And he is not quite refired, as he's going to refire now. Here he goes, so no yellow going to be called here. But he's going to lose a lot of time, falling off the pack a little bit. Zilich not quite getting away from Chet Jordan, so those soft tires may have finally kicked in. Siegel came out in 14th. He's going to try to get these tires up to temperature. So he's going to try and go with the undercut here. I imagine with the hard tires, he's going to be able to get to the end. We're going to have to see what Chet Jordan does with them. We haven't usually seen the hard tires pay off in these races. As Brendan Hubbard, he's on the hards. He's actually going to come in now. Realized he wasn't getting the pace out of him that he wanted to. So he's going to come in. Robbie Lohr, also on the hards, is going to come in. It's going to be quite interesting to see what happens with Siegel then. as Foster and Allgaier still battle side by side. Foster gonna try and go around the outside. And he's gonna get the position. That was bold to go around your teammate like that. These Swindlers teammates not holding up, but Van Gisbergen up to a 5.5 second lead over Marcus Armstrong, who's just not able to keep up at the current moment. Could Van Gisbergen be the first one in many seasons to win a race back to back? Yeah, I think from this point, it would literally be about 60 races, 3 seasons. Chet Jordan comes in and he was on the hards. So, hard tires are not working out for these guys. That's what is interesting with Nolan Siegel. Whoa! David Malukas up the inside of Lindsey Brewer. That was bold. But Siegel will come out ahead of Chet Jordan, who's going to be on the soft, so he's probably going to need to pit again. I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the end on these. Going to come out in 15th. But luckily in a little bit of clean traffic. DeFrancesco also pit. Allgaier chases teammate Louis Foster. Van Gisbergen up to a 7.3 second lead. As Allgaier late move on Louis Foster into turn 1. But it's going to work out. He's going to take the position. These two have swapped back and forth multiple times. They've got teammate Dorian Pinn right behind them. So Swindler's currently 1, 4, 5, 6. Gonna have to see how that looks after they cycle out. But Allgaier all over the back of Connor Zilic here. Allgaier gonna chase Zilic down the front stretch. Gonna have to see if he makes a late move once again, but Foster's gonna try and go to the outside around his teammate once more. These guys are not working together. Foster's gonna take the position right back. They've swapped about every single lap. Chet Jordan moving forward. Whoa, nearly slides trying to get by Ethan Martz in the 76. .3 now over Marcus Armstrong. Connor Zilic now leads Foster. As all 3 Swindlers cars are hooked up, I think Zilic is starting to slow a little bit. He's got down to 8th, connected with him, Benjamin Peterson. Nearly on the tail now. Priest gonna be trying to look around Gagne soon, I'd assume. Foster gonna try and look around the outside. Who's gonna be the one that's able to pick off Zilic? And it looks like it's gonna be Foster here. So Louis Foster gonna get around Connor Zilic. Allgaier gonna have to go way wide trying to get around him, but now he's gonna have to run off the turn. Priest trying to get Gagne in the background. Not quite able to get there. Nolan Siegel's nearly found his way back into the top 10. Currently right behind David Malukas, which is hurting his pace just a little bit. As Lawless Allen, who spun out earlier, has entered pit lane. Another interesting thing to note is after this race's damage costs, as Foster is already gone, he has left Zilich behind. So that shows how much Zilich's tires have gone, and he's going to come in now. As Marcus Armstrong has spun around in turn 1, and Priest is going to go around the outside trying to avoid him and lose out on a little bit of time. But Armstrong going to lose many positions now as he's going to have to wait for everyone to go by here. Oh, that's got to hurt. And that is a mistake you just can't make. Still 20 laps to go, but that has just cost him second. As now the Swindlers are 1, 2, 3, 4. Man. As Foster now 14 seconds behind the leader. Lawless Allen right in front of him. And Zilich is going to get by Armstrong here, so he's going to at least be behind him. Lawless Allen, the only car a lap down. Priest lost out a spot trying to avoid as Nolan Siegel trying to get by Malukas here. He's going to go by and get it. As up here, Benjamin Peterson has gotten by Guy Gagne for 5th. Is 29 really starting to move forward? Don't count him out. We're going to be coming up on halfway soon. Which is really the safe spot to get home on tires. Connor Zilich, who was up there, he is on the medium, so I'd say he's probably safe to get to the end. It may be a little bit of a stretch, so gonna have to see. But he made it pretty long on the softs. As Gagne comes in, he was on the soft, so he made it a pretty long time. I think cars like 76 of Ethan Martz are one of the last ones on the softs. He's still out. Miles Rowe also in pit lane. Dane Van Gisbergen might end up in a little bit of lap traffic here. Depends on where Miles Rowe comes out. Oh, it's going to be a little close. Oh yeah, he's going to end up behind Miles Rowe. That's unfortunate, as back here, Louis Foster and Justin Allgaier battle for second. Second wide open on the table. Still going to have to see what guys like Nolan Siegel do to finish out this race as Ethan Martz finally pulls in. I think he was the last one of the cars to start on the softs. Actually, I think McStinkle and Dawa Tenzin are the last two, I believe, as David Malukas once again has found himself around. And this is yet another mistake on a mistake-heavy season. He's going to get back going, but man, you just cannot let that happen every single week. So Connor Zilic has beaten out Guy Gagne, which Gagne was in Zilic's group, but Chet Jordan is ahead of Connor Zilic. That's kind of where that battle comes into play, but Jordan is currently behind Francesco Draconi and Lindsey Brewer. Lucas only lost a couple spaces, so not too much time was lost. Still a considerable amount, as Nolan Siegel has to pit again. Oh no. For whatever reason, Siegel has to pit for a second time, as Justin Allgaier just got around Louis Foster for second. This may be for second, because I believe Jordan's probably going to have to pit again, and Zilic is going to have a struggle to get to the end. Gonna have to see where Siegel comes out. Luckily, this is as bad as it can get, really. 14th. Whoa. Kind of swerved all over the place right there. Van Gisbergen got by Miles Rowe, put him a lap down. Now 3 cars not on the lead lap. The Siegel's on the mediums, gonna try and get to the end here. As these two side by side for second once again. Justin Allgaier still gonna come out ahead. Second place would be very good for him. Let's see if he can hold it. As Chet Jordan, we knew the softs weren't gonna last, he's gonna have to come in again. Your top 8 all have not pit at all during this race. Zilic is the first car who has. He's going to have a bit of a struggle to get to the end, but considering how much these guys have been able to make it on the mediums, I think he should be okay. Chet Jordan going to come out in clean air, but down in 15th. He is on the mediums, as Van Gisbergen will come in. So that is the first of your leaders to come in. He's going to go all the way down pit road here. His teammates Allgaier and Foster are going to stay out. Gonna have to see where Van Gisbergen comes out in terms of Connor Zilic. I assume he'd probably be ahead. Oh, and he's going to take the cone with him. That might be a little bit of front nose damage. Probably not much, but it could be. I think you'd have to hit it at higher speeds. But cones can cause damage. I learned that the hard way, as Tinkle McStinkle has found himself around. As Marcus Armstrong pits as well. McStinkle gonna have to wait for a couple cars to come through, as now he's gonna get back going. Rough start to the season for this 53 team. He's made a really long time on those soft tires, but it's just not going his way. So Van Gisbergen well and away from Connor Zilic, about 12 seconds up the road. As Marcus Armstrong is going to come out at pit lane here. Tough day for Silly Men Racing so far, but he's going to come out right in front of all these guys. So luckily that's a swarm that he beats. Allgaier, Foster, Pinn, and Peterson all come in at once. Gonna look at this camera angle to see who's gonna get off pit road first, as they all came in at basically the same time. Allgaier is a little bit faster than Foster on the pit box. Pinn pretty quick and gonna beat Gagne out. No, Gagne is going to clear, as Hubbard and Allen have had incidents on separate parts of the circuit. Are any of these cars going to get going? Brendan Hubbard is moving. Allen has gotten back going. But a lot of cars sliding around. It's been a good while on these tires. But Brendan Hubbard going to lose a lot of spots there with sitting 10th in points. Lawless Allen. It's going to hurt his Rookie of the Year chances. But Allgaier going to beat a lot of these guys out. But Zilich, critically, has beaten most of them and currently sits in second. He just has to make it to the end of these tires, and I think it's doable. Draconi out here on the mediums. He's been out here for a good while, as he is actually all the way on the inside. Has he ran out of fuel? I think Francesco Draconi has ran out of fuel somehow. He has gone way too long. And yeah, that car is done. He's gonna limp. And he has officially parked it. And as his car despawns, that's when we're gonna throw the yellow flag. But right now he is just sitting there. We're gonna have to watch as the car disappears on the track map. And we have a yellow flag. So with just 12 to go, yellow flag comes out. Mahavir Raghunathan and Glubler Lord were in the pits right as the yellow flag came out. But went way too long on the fuel for Francesco Draconi. He's going to pay the price. Lucky Dog, I believe, will be the 99 of Brendan Hubbard. We'll get one lap back. But Van Gisbergen's massive lead has gone away. He's going to be on the soft tires trying to make it. He's going to have an interesting way to get to the end on the softs. That's going to be a little difficult. But Allgaier and Foster are also on the softs. Zilich is on the medium, so I think he should be able to get to the end. McStinkle is still out there, and he is going slow, so he may be out of fuel. He was already a lap down somehow, so that's going to get even worse for the 53 right there. But we do know it is possible to get to the end on the softs. Considering McStinkle's out here on the softs. Granted, he has just ran out of fuel, but that's unrelated to tire wear. Yeah, he is out of fuel. Pushed way too much and pays the price. Since we do have a lapped car, we're not going to be able to shorten this yellow. For his fairness, and since this isn't a super massive circuit, we have some leeway that we can give. Draconi's going to jump to the pits. Going to fuel that car up and try to send it back out so he doesn't lose more than one lap. No, he has actually despawned. So he is out of the race. Winner at Michigan going to be out here. Is Lawless Allen going to enter the pit lane? The only pit taker. As Hubbard's going to go around, so we are actually going to be able to shorten this yellow, I believe. We're going to go green with 9 laps to go. Zilich has been out here for 10 laps. That's the longest of anyone besides DeFrancesco down in 15th. Been out here for 14 laps. Been quite an interesting race with how it's gone so far. Then Gisbergen gonna have to hold off the field for 9 laps. Connor Zilich, it's gonna be difficult for him to get to the end. For these guys, all of them on softs, it's gonna be a little difficult. But I think it should be doable. Gagne on the mediums is one car to actually watch. He could be in a pretty good position here. I do just want to highlight best pit stop in that whole sequence goes to Nolan Siegel, 6.02 second pit stop. Slowest is Miles Rowe with a 10.27. Viking Racing was on top of their game that time around. 26 cars left in the race, 23 on the lead lap. Tenzin, Allen, and McStinkle are 1 lap down. 9 laps to the end. Can the tires make it? We're gonna have to see. Can Zilich make it to the end? Can these guys make it to the end? Who really knows? Pace car will pull off here as McStinkle's gonna leave the pits right as we come to green. So we may be an issue during this. Green flag is out. Peterson gets a good jump around the outside. Zilich in second. Ryan Preece gonna try and go up the inside. Can't quite get there. Alessio Deletta is gonna try and stick a nose through Chet Jordan, but he's gonna get there. Van Gisbergen already has a decent gap, but there is a lapped car of McStinkle up the road. Here comes Justin Allgaier trying to make a move on Connor Zilich. Not quite able to get there. Guy Gagné holding off Dorian Pin as Ryan Preece trying to go around Benjamin Peterson here. Oh, it's close, but Preece is going to get it, and Siegel's going to try and follow. Siegel, is he able to pull it off? Yes, he will. Siegel up into 8th. So they still get a good result out of this. Zilich down by 4/10 behind Van Gisbergen. But it's going to be a hard battle to try to get that number 1. Here we go, back onto the straightaway. A place to get the long slipstreams. As here comes Justin Allgaier around the outside. Not quite able to get there, but here comes Gagne for 4th. And he's going to get it. He's going to get by Louis Foster right there. Brendan Hubbard has to enter the pits again. That's unfortunate. He was already at the back of the field. As here comes Allgaier for second. Can't quite get there. Pin trying to go around teammate Louis Foster. Can't quite get there. Marcus Armstrong trying to get into the top 10 to try to salvage. Good result. Just got by both Banshees of Little Miami teammates. As Van Gisbergen already up to a 1-second lead, but he's got a lapped car of Tinkle McStinkle in front of him. Allgaier all over the back of Zilich. Let's go on board. And it's gonna be... Man, Zilich is able to hang on as Foster gets the spot back from Gagne to take fourth. Pin trying to hold off Priest here as Priest's gonna have to go wide. Trying to fend off Nolan Siegel. Benjamin Peterson back there trying to make a move. As the intensity is really revved up in this group, Van Gisbergen is gone once again, but finds lap traffic in the 53 of Tinkle McStinkle. Gonna have to see if that becomes a problem or if that will be dealt with quickly. Right now, 2.2 seconds is the gap. As McStinkle has just slowed Van Gisbergen down to a 1.7. That's a pretty noticeable gap to lose right there. Zilich has Allgaier all over his back bumper as Van Gisbergen gonna get by McStinkle. Allgaier now gonna have to fend off Louis Foster, his teammate, for the podium right here. Oh, side by side going down the back stretch. 6 laps to go as Zilich gonna get around McStinkle. That is crucial. Allgaier gonna be able to get around the outside of McStinkle as well, so he's gonna be a little bit ahead of Foster here. Foster not able to get by as the 53 hangs on in front of him, but he's all over the place. That 53 is erratic. As Dorian Pin very slow to get on the gas, getting held up by the 53. Basically had to come to a complete stop, it looked like. But the lap car kind of spread out the leaders just a little bit as Pin's going to get by McStinkle here. Gonna have Priest all over the back wing. Chet Jordan got by Peterson as Siegel's going to go up the inside. Big move. And Chet Jordan nearly follows, but not able to. Armstrong trying to claw back into the top 10 here. Trying to salvage anything he can. Five to go. Van Gisbergen has checked out once again. 3.5 seconds over Connor Zilich. Justin Allgaier in third. Louis Foster fourth. Guy Gagne fifth. Dorian Pin sixth. Nolan Siegel seventh. Ryan Priest eighth. Chet Jordan ninth. And then Benjamin Peterson rounds out your top 10. But he's got Armstrong all over his rear wing. Very, very racy. Eagle gonna try and look around the outside. Not quite able to get there. He's on the medium tires, so as everyone around him running the softs, their tire's gonna wear out. He's gonna move forward. As up here, Foster tries looking to the inside of Allgaier, but can't quite get there. As Marcus Armstrong has picked off Benjamin Peterson to get back into the top 10. Trying to get a recovery drive going. 10's not going to be what he wants, but he'll get it done. Can people make it on the tires? Van Gisbergen, with how much he's driven away, I wouldn't be surprised if he used a little too much and has to pull off. I'm hoping for his sake, and kind of my sanity, that he doesn't have to pull off. So I think I would lose my mind if he does. As Zilich under attack from Justin Allgaier. These guys got to battle like they're battling for the lead just in case that does happen. Foster trying to go up the inside of his teammate. These two have been going at it all race. And it's been an incredible battle that's gone back and forth. Connor Zilic, he wants his first podium of the season so badly. As Justin Allgaier going to go up the inside here. And he's going to get the position. Justin Allgaier up into second. Connor Zilic has lost out on the second place. Does he have any fight in it? Robbie Lohr, he came into the pits on the soft tire. So what does that say about everyone else's tires? We're going to have to find out. But again, battle back here like you're battling for the win. If all of these guys need to pit, then Gagne could come in as your winner because Zilic is on old mediums, which is why his pace may be a little lacking. But 2 laps to go. Back here, Gagne all over Foster, the pink machine under attack. And Gagne nearly spins out, but he's going to get the position done. Guy Gagne up into 4th. Foster loses out down to 5th. And Nolan Siegel got by Dorian Pind for 6th place. Viking Racing on the move right now. 2 laps to go for Shane Van Gisbergen to be the first driver in many, many races to win back-to-back. And it was from his Swindlers teammate Tom Blomqvist in his short tenure with the team in that 99 car. Right now, Justin Allgaier's running in second. Going to be his best career result if he can get it done. Van Gisbergen just needs to make it about 1 more lap now. White flag. Devlin DeFrancesco is off. And so is the 47 of Lindsey Brewer. Doesn't matter now because a yellow flag can't be thrown. They're just going to lose many, many positions here as Benjamin Peterson trying to go around Marcus Armstrong for the final top 10 spot. Is Armstrong going to hang on here? It's going down the backstretch. All of these positions seem to be sorted. Chet Jordan may be able to do a late move. No, not able to. So Shane Van Gisbergen, 2-time champ, might be leaving with the points lead here. I'm not too sure, but I think that might be the math. Yeah, I think Shane Van Gisbergen with the win would be leading the points after this race. As we have another car off track, Nico Hulkenberg, but that doesn't matter. Coming down the front stretch, Shane Van Gisbergen, first driver in 60 races to win back-to-back. He gets it done as a battle for second side by side at the line. I don't know who got it. They're saying it's Justin Allgaier who got second place, just barely. Justin Allgaier gets second by 0.03 of a second. Gagne 4th, just barely over Foster's 5th, Siegel 6th, Pind 7th, Priest 8th, and then Silly Men Racing rounds out the top 10 with Jordan 9th and Armstrong in 10th. Man, what a race that was. We have a couple cars that spun out at the end. I know DeFrancesco was one of them. I don't know where he lost it, but he had two spins, I believe. Yeah, he did have two. And I know Nico Hulkenberg also lost it like a turn before. Yeah, so a lot of chaos on the last lap for your mid to back field, but it's all clean at the front. As let's take a look at your final results. Shane Van Gisbergen, first driver in 60 races to win back to back, and Justin Allgaier in a photo finish is going to take second over Connor Zilic. Nearly got it done for Zilic, but that will still be his best result of the season. That is Allgaier's best career result. Guy Gagne is going to take fourth, another good result for him. Louis Foster in fifth, Nolan Siegel sixth, Dorian Pin seventh, Ryan Preece eighth, Chet Jordan ninth, and Marcus Armstrong will round out your top 10 in 10th. Then Benjamin Peterson just barely loses out on the top 10. He's going to finish 11th with teammate Alessio Deletta right behind in 12th. David Malukas gets his best result of the season in 13th, as Ethan Martz will finish in 14th. Stingray Robb up 12 spots from where he started. He's going to finish in 15th with Mahavir Raghunathan in 16th. Lindsey Brewer spun out on the final lap, going to finish down in 17th with Miles Rowe in 18th. Glubler Lore is going to finish in 19th, Brendan Hubbard in 20th. A disappointing result for Robbie Lore. He's going to finish 21st. Nico Hulkenberg spun out on the last lap. He's going to finish 22nd. Same with Devlin DeFrancesco. He finishes 23rd. Then one lap down is Lala Salin and Dawa Tenzin. 2 laps down is Tinkle McStinkle. And then out of the race is Francesco Draconi. An exciting race here at Interlagos. Maybe not for the lead, but throughout the midfield. Up next, I actually don't know where we're going. It's going to be in Florida. Most likely, it's going to be Sebring. Second choice is Miami Autodrome if it gets added to iRacing, which would be neat. Third choice, long shot, but if it happens, then good, will be St. Petersburg. But I believe it's probably going to be Sebring. It's going to be some sort of street course esque thing. Sebring's drives like a street course. But anyways, qualifying for that will be on Tuesday. Race will be on Wednesday. And the championship is just starting to get underway.